hey, hey, hey. Love like yours will surely come my way.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
What you are about to hear is a sports talk radio show unlike any other that has ever before been broadcast in the capital city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming's Sports Talk Authority. The Wyoming Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Colorado Rockies, and the Denver Nuggets. The show is local, it's regional, and yes, the show is national as well. Wyoming Sports Talk Today is on the air. If they're talking sports on the radio in Cheyenne, this is the place it happens. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
And welcome to Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Larry Proetti, along with Nick Proetti, and you. Our program being brought to you by Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. Again, Joe and the gang invite you to come on by and enjoy Paisan cuisine at its best 7 days a week. Always fresh, always delicious. Again, home-style cooking, family recipes, not corporate recipes, okay? Again, Mondello's Pizzeria, that's why Joe's been around for a long, long time, giving us delicious meals every time we come into his place. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. Across the street at 1508 Stillwater Avenue, it's our friends over at First Tier Bank, where they're offering some very special interest rates right now with annual percentage yields as high as 3.1 on a 27-month CD over at First Tier Bank. See them today. They're open Monday through Friday. Lennox Auto Body and the Auto Glass and Detail Center, part of Lennox Enterprises for a quarter century, serving our needs in our area. And again, founded by Dick Lennox, tradition carried on by his daughter Heather, as Heather invites you to stop on by, whether you need the repairs done over on Dunn Avenue, or maybe you want to get it cleaned up, or you need a new windshield. See them over at the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard. Medicap Pharmacy. For all your pharmaceutical needs, see Gene and the great staff today. They are located on Bluegrass Circle next door to Texas Roadhouse. Make sure you bring in your doctor's prescription. You can shop inside or use the convenient drive-thru. And again, they're on Bluegrass Circle next door to Texas Roadhouse. Chick-fil-A at the corner of Windmill and Delrange across from Powers Field and Menards. And a reminder over at Chick-fil-A, and it's here for a couple more weeks. We're talking about their Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and their Strawberry Passion Tea Lemonade. Again, you snooze, you lose. Check it out. Grab a couple of them for dinner tonight along with some waffle fries, and make sure you're topping it off with that Strawberry Passion Tea Lemonade from Chick-fil-A at the corner of Windmill and Delrange across from Menards and Powers Field. Platte Valley Bank. Banking done the easy way and done the high technology way. Now, when I say the easy way, customer service, you walk in and they take good care of you. High technology, I guess that's the easy way too, and everything in between. They are open Monday through Friday. Customer service always first and foremost at Platte Valley Bank on Vanda High and at the corner of College and Pershing. Kia of Cheyenne over on Nation Way. Again, the Kia family, including our good friends AJ and Greg and the great staff that works there, would like for you to take a look at the Kia family of vehicles on the lot. The 19s must go. 20s are arriving, including that 2020 Telluride. Again, what a great SUV from Kia. And right now you're going to find sensational savings on all of the 19s right now at Kia of Cheyenne. So take a test drive, kick a few tires, and take home the Kia of your dreams. Kia on Nation Way. And last but not least, we want to thank Taco John's of Cheyenne, where right now, if you are a fan of the Sierra Chicken Sandwich, well, it's here for a limited time. So make sure you're over there getting as many as you like, taking them home, get some potato olays, and you are all set to go, even for some baseball tonight. So again, Taco John's of Cheyenne, Sierra Chicken Sandwich is here for a limited time as well at all Taco John's of Cheyenne. And we get things underway at scoreboard time. It's being brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. We go first to Nick.
And on the regional side, at least out of the Expedition League, happening in Gary, Nebraska, it was a best-of-3 series. It went to Game 3 yesterday where it wrapped up, but is Badlands Big Six will be your 2019 Expedition League champions as they defeated Western Nebraska 6-5 in Game 3 yesterday, happening again in Gary, Nebraska. So Western Nebraska not back-to-back champs. Instead, Badlands, the Big Six, they are your 2019 Expedition League champions. On the local side, at least looking at Cheyenne Post 6, at least with the Cheyenne Hawks, they're competing in the regional tournament. They won yesterday against a Montana, Canada team in their regional tournament by a final of 7-5. They have advanced to the Final Four of the regional tournament. They will continue play, at least happening today, at least opponent to be determined. Also, too, regarding Cheyenne Post 6, coming up tomorrow at Powers Field, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. for fall ball. It is baseball tryouts for Cheyenne Post 6. Again, happening at Powers Field. No tryout fee for this one. Also, too, looking at the upcoming week as well. Wednesday, August 14th, Powers Field for incoming freshmen. That'll be 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Sophomores to seniors, that'll be 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And then also, too, Thursday, August 15th at Powers Field for the Cheyenne Indians, that is incoming 8th graders, that'll be 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So Cheyenne Post 6 asks folks, again, players or parents, please arrive 30 minutes early to pre-register and warm up. Again, that is what's happening. Tryouts for Cheyenne Post 6 on various levels, at least happening this week over at Powers Field.
Double dip at Yankee Stadium for today. Game 1 belongs to the Pinstripers as they beat the Baltimore Orioles 8-5. Game 2 will be getting underway here around 5:05. Also in the 5 o'clock hour, it will be the Red Sox and the Indians from Progressive Field. Reds and the Nationals at Nats Park. Rangers and the Blue Jays in the Rogers Center. 6 o'clock games will have the Astros at the White Sox at Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. Diamondbacks and the Rockies tonight at Coors Field. 88 degrees presently in Lodo as Merrill Kelly will get the call for the Diamondbacks. He's 7-12 in the season. Peter Lambert will toss the rock for the Rocks. He is 2-3, ERA of only 6.87. Rockies, by the way, 53-65, mired in last place in the National League's Western Division. 8 o'clock games on the left coast. Halos back at Angel Stadium, Anaheim. They will host the Pittsburgh Pirates in interleague play. And the Rays and the Padres also interleague play from Petco at 8:10 this evening. Our scoreboard brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
Yo, this is your cup holder talking. You know me, the little round thing between your car seats. Now, listen.
You can even log on to Medicap.com and order a prescription refill. Your Medicap pharmacist will call you to make arrangements for pickup or delivery.
Medicap Pharmacy will always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
You love the Lennox difference, from collision repair to minor nicks and dents. Certified quality you can trust. Nobody cares about your car more than us. Lennox Auto Body, we do what we say. We fix it right and get you on your way. No shortcuts, no compromise. Lennox Auto Body. No shortcuts, no compromise.
Lennox Auto Body at 1020 Dunn Avenue and the Detail Center at 617 East Pershing Boulevard, Cheyenne.
Chick-fil-A is a proud supporter of our high school athletes at East, Central, and South. May the school year bring success to all of you. Before you start your day, stop by Chick-fil-A for a hearty, delicious, and satisfying breakfast, only at Windmill and Del Range. Breakfast is served Monday through Saturday from 6 in the morning till 10:30 a.m. Breakfast with Chick-fil-A, the most important meal of the day at Windmill and Del Range.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, sunshine expected, daytime high of 82, mostly clear for tonight with a low down to 52 degrees. Tomorrow continued sunny. We're calling for a daytime high of 82 with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. Mostly clear Tuesday night with a very slight chance of showers and thunderstorms during the evening. Our low down to 52 degrees. And for Wednesday, continued sunny. We're calling for a daytime high of 85 degrees.
You're listening to Cheyenne's new Sports Talk Authority. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today on AM 1480 KRAE.
Welcome to Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Larry Perotti, along with Nick Perotti. Our special guest, on the phone will be Will Gray, Pine Bluffs Hornets head football coach. Coach, year number for you?
To be honest, I don't know. As a head coach, I think it's number 9.
Number 9, okay. You kind of lose count after a while because it's just so much fun year in, year out, right?
That's right.
Now, Coach, when do you officially open up camp for the kids?
It's actually a little different for us. Next Monday is actually the first day of school for us, which is also the first day of practice for anybody outside of 4A. So we normally try and split it, a practice in the morning and a practice in the evening. But we've got quite a few kids that bring their siblings to school, and with the first couple days of school, we're just going to go in the evening for a couple hours and see how much we can get done, and we'll go from there and see if it's productive or not.
When I was coaching many, many moons ago, and I coached what would be considered a 1A school out in Princeton, California, which is about an hour's drive from Chico, California. But anyway, you had kids that came out for football. I think we suited up like 17, and then again they're off to doing basketball, and then they're out doing track and field, blah, blah, blah. Again, you have student athletes that are involved in more than one sport over at Pine Bluffs High School. I think during the summer, the kids need the time off away from sports.
Oh, absolutely. We open the weight room at 5 a.m. Till about 7:30 in the morning, and we have a pretty good, older group of kids, and we had a few freshmen in there. And then we do I think we did 8 practices this summer, just in July. And we let basketball take up all of June to go to their team camps and stuff. But, this year is actually a little different because the wheat harvest is a little later than normal. So a lot of those guys are going to be losing their help as kids go back to school. So we got some farmers around that are stressing a little bit.
And before we look into the 2019 season, Coach, for Pine Bluffs, but looking back at 2018 for the Hornets, going 6-4, a few losses, at least notable 2 losses against Bighorn, 1 in the regular season, and then 1 in the postseason, at least in the semifinals, that prevented Pine Bluffs from making it to the back, at least 3-peat of the state championship or state title games for at least Pine Bluffs. Looking also, too, on the road against Burns, losing to the 2A opponent there, the Burns Bronx, at least in Burns, and then also, too, at Upton Sundance. But again, recapping 2018, just give us a little rundown of what happened for Pine Bluffs there in 2018.
We started the season off pretty well, but against good teams, we struggled to run the football. And, at our level, you have to be able to run the ball against good teams to be able to set everything else up. And we kind of struggled with that. And, losing to Bighorn, when we played them here, we felt like after the game we had a chance. We had some missed opportunities and things like that. But when we went up there in the semis, they were just better than us that day. And it was pretty apparent from kickoff. But they were as good a team as I've ever coached against, and Coach McLaughlin does a great job with them. But they were just better than us that day, and the kids got to remember what it felt like to get drilled like that and hopefully they show up next Monday ready to go.
And looking at 2018, the most notable, and again, from my at least stats and at least looking at the score breakdown from last year, 2018, you got to be proud of what your defense put out there for the Pine Bluffs Hornets. A lot of shutouts across this at least schedule from my account. As I'm doing a quick calculation, it looks like 6 out of your 10 total games you had complete shutouts against your opponents, in which in case led to victories for Pine Bluffs.
Yeah, Coach Anderson does a great job with those kids. Speed just kind of hurt us against some of those teams that we lost to. When we're thinking of back to the Upton Sundance game, they hit a few over the top against us, and we just kind of struggled with some overall team speed. So our stuff in the weight room this summer has been focusing on speed and explosion, so people can't take advantage of that.
It's interesting that we mentioned Bighorn, and again, too, up there near the Sheridan market, and Sheridan has been dominant in Class 4A. What makes that Bighorn football program so difficult to beat?
First and foremost, they just have good kids, good athletes. There's three sport kids. Whether they're doing track for Bighorn or going to Sheridan and play soccer, they're 3 sport kids that just get after you, and they compete really, really hard. They have great coaches up there. Mike Daly's the AD, and he used to coach girls basketball. Now he's the boys basketball coach, and it's just a culture thing that we're trying to get here. We had a pretty good run, but every small school runs out of kids, and you just have that cycle. And so we're trying to get rid of that cycle here, where culture takes over and kids buy into what we're doing, and they're just ready to compete every day.
We're talking with Will Gray, head coach of the Pine Bluffs Hornets. Coach, we're using the verbiage here, as we heard from one of our junior college coaches, bigger, stronger, and faster. How do we keep the Hornets bigger, stronger, and faster? Obviously weight room is one of the keys, but how do we express that message to these young men as they get ready for football?
The biggest piece is being accountable, showing up not only in the summer, but we have a lot of kids that take weights during the school day. But it's not enough just to show up. It's being accountable and making sure you hold yourself to the correct percentage you're supposed to be doing that day and doing the correct reps. But, like I said, it's just being accountable to yourself and to your teammates and making sure you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Nick was talking to you about 2018. Let's look ahead towards 2019. And again, the schedule is the same schedule.
Just roles are flipped.
Where you're going to be at. You're going to either be home or away. And again, the schedule makers this year, a little nicer to Pine. You don't have that far to travel. But, again, as the head coach, does that schedule get a little monotonous for you? Hey, we played these guys last year. Do you want to get some different looks from time to time?
Sometimes, knowing who you're going to play, especially if they have returning coaches and things like that, it's a little easier for scouting. But for me, every Friday is a new chance to compete, so I don't worry about who we're playing. We open up week 1 at Yuma. We've never been to Yuma, Colorado, and played them before. I mean, hell, I've never even been there driving through, so it'll be a new experience for us. But we don't care who we play. We just want a chance every Friday night to compete.
You go to Sterling and make a left, and that way you'll get into Yuma.
We're going to go to Brush and make a left.
Well, that way, too. Either way, you're going to get there one way or the other. So, Coach, again, looking at your schedule and looking at last season where, you had that little bit of a slump there with Bighorn, Burns, and Upton Sundance. Again, this year's a new year, and I'm looking at your schedule where you kind of have a couple road games, and you come home for a couple of games, and then you're at Bighorn. That's obviously going to be your biggest test as far as road tripping, and also at Wright with the Panthers. Then you're home with Burns and up to Sundance, and then I guess you would call it a short trip to Lusk. Like I said, you have to look at the schedule this year as far as for the kids, keeping them focused. Looks like it's a pretty good schedule.
Yeah, when we go to Bighorn, that'll be an overnight trip because we actually changed kickoff to 1 p.m. to help out with some officiating stuff. So we'll go up Thursday night, stay the night in Sheridan, play, and then come home. And we're pretty fortunate that we don't have 2 long trips back to back. And Yuma is actually the same distance as Lusk, about 2 hours and 20 minutes for either way. So we're pretty blessed as far as the schedule goes.
Breakdown for 2019 for you, Coach. Kind of get out that crystal ball of yours and kind of predict the future, or at least what teams are on your radar. We'll start at least with Class 1A as it's broken down to East and West. We'll start on the East side of things. Outside of Bighorn, and also too with your school, Pine Bluffs, as the kind of two notable teams in Class 1A, but out of at least in the East side of Class 1A, what other teams are kind of on your radar for 2019?
Well, I'll kind of talk about all of them a little bit. Upton Sundance, when you combine two schools, you're getting the best of two different worlds. And it's kind of been in the past that one school's had the linemen, the other's had the skill kids, and when you can put that together, you always have a chance to win. And they have really good team speed. I thought we saw that with Upton's track team last spring, and with their basketball team, they have some really good skilled kids. And Sundance has some bigger kids that are good throwers in track, so they'll be able to put a good squad together. And Southeast was they were down last year, but they were really, really young. They're sophomores going into juniors this year. They have a lot of experience. We expect them to be much, much better than they were. And then Lusk is kind of that question mark. They were really, really young. They have some good skilled kids. If they can put some, 5 linemen out there that can move some people, they're going to be tough. They're kind of getting that Lusk Tiger toughness back, and Coach Nelson's doing a great job with them.
Coach, let's look at your team. And again, you don't have that major luxury like a Cheyenne Central or South with a lot of returning veterans, but you do have some returners. And, of course, you look at that 8th grade class that's going to be dropping in some freshmen for you. Tell us a little bit what we can expect and some of the key performers that you're expecting big things out of.
Well, every year with the small school, you got to break the puzzle apart and then put it back together, and the pieces might not fit in the same spots. So we've moved some kids around, from skill positions to linemen or linemen to skill positions. And when you're all 5'10", 160 pounds, you can do that when they all look alike. But we feel like when we went to camp this July, we actually hosted Burns and Mitchell, Nebraska here back in mid-July. We felt like we took some really good steps forward. We changed a few things up front as far as blocking scheme goes, and we're kind of going to get away from our 21 personnel with our fullback a little bit, just because we don't really have that piece. But we're going to try and do some different things without it. We really like the kids we have. It's just a matter of putting that puzzle together.
I like what you said there, where you as a head coach have to make adjustments because you have to do the adjustments with your personnel. You as the head coach, are you scouting around other parts of the country that are in similar situations like Pine Bluffs, again, not with limited numbers, to find I don't want to use the word plays, but to find certain pieces that make your team a little bit better?
Oh, absolutely. On Twitter there's a couple good I think it's on Monday and Tuesday nights, just some football chats between football coaches on Twitter, and a couple guys kind of spearhead that. And they're asking questions, to everybody else. And I don't necessarily react on there, but I read them all, and they're talking about different schemes. And then when people say we run this scheme, it's how do you implement that during practice? What drills are you doing? So I follow that a lot. A friend of mine, Brady Walls, who was out in Iowa, started Run the Power podcast. He was at Black Hills when I was there as a GA, and so I listen to that every week. And they got guys, position coaches from all different levels of football, just talking about what they do at practice. And so I follow that a lot, and you know what? Google can be your best friend. If you have a question that, I'm not sure how to run this, just get on there. There's YouTube videos, there's articles. I spend my winter locked in my room doing a little mad scientist stuff, trying to figure it all out.
Well, you got to love technology, especially with 2019. Now, something kind of at least a little off the cuff for you, Coach, and something we've talked with the Class 4A coaches here in Cheyenne, but we'll ask you out there, the community of Pine Bluffs, with 2019, with technology as it is, how much of that is kind of at least used by Pine Bluffs, used by you, as we talk with those 4A head coaches? A lot of them have apps set in stone for players to at least get their workouts in, to monitor that, to make sure that they're doing their actual workouts, not playing Fortnite or anything like that. What technologies do you impose on Pine Bluffs, at least in the football program?
Our biggest one is just Huddle, making sure every kid has the app so they can watch film on their own. we have a lot of smart kids that have a lot of downtime during the school day. So if they get on Huddle and watch film, they stay out of trouble. But we also use like Google Classroom to send out our just our weekly call sheets and scheme stuff, and we use Google Hangouts as like a messaging app. You know, so-and-so is going to throw on the field at 7 o'clock. Be there if you can, and things like that. We just, thanks to our recreation board, we just got a brand new in-zone camera that'll allow us to have replay on the sideline. It's pretty sweet. We tried it at camp. It took me a while to figure it out, but we think that'll be a big tool for us, just being able to see what other teams are doing on the fly. You know, as soon as the play's over, it sends it to an iPad on the sideline, and then one of us will be able to see it. I doubt I'll ever get to. I'm sure my assistants will hog that, because they're all technology nerds, and I'm not. But so those are just some of the things that we use.
You know, Coach, you had mentioned about getting on with the Twitter and checking out other ideas to help better the Pine Bluffs Hornets. Over here in Class 4A in our region, you know, this could be the year of the quarterback. We've got some really good gunslingers up and down 25 and going east on 80. Going west on 80. But let me ask you your situation, and obviously it changes year in, year out. If you have your druthers, would you rather be a passing team or you make your money on the ground?
Well, I played quarterback in high school and college, so my heart says I'd rather throw it around the yard, but my brain says you got to be pretty balanced. And by balanced, I don't mean 50-50. I mean being able to run or pass whenever you want. You doesn't have to be equal, but the threat has to be there all the time. And that's kind of where we like to be. A year ago, we weren't quite there yet with just our run game. We just couldn't get off the ground with it against good teams. But we like to be able to do whatever we want. And you can do that when you have good kids, and some years you can't. But we like to be pretty balanced.
And final question for me, for you, Coach, again, appreciate you joining us here today on Wyoming Sports Talk today. As we look into at least to the postseason, or at least looking back at 2018 for 2019, again, just in 1A in general, is Cokeville, in your opinion, at least a valid challenger for that state title on the west side of Class 1A?
Oh, absolutely. They bring some good kids back. Coach Dayton does a great job with that program. I mean, his record speaks for itself. But, yeah, they do. Their biggest issue is they don't have a lot of competition on the west side. We're here in Rocky Mountains going to have a few more kids out, which will help. But they always have a good game plan. They're really, really hard to get out of position. Bighorn is probably the only team I've ever seen be able to do that to them. That's why the score ended up the way it was. But they're going to be good. We don't get to see a lot of them. But when we do, we got to make sure we're sound.
Well, Coach, we want to wish the Purple and Gold all the best this season. And again, with your Hornets, I know you're excited. You're probably chomping at the bit, get ready to get them back on the field and get them back to work. And again, looking forward to chatting with you throughout the course of the season.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Hey, and if the Cheyenne schools are out of town, don't hesitate to come down and call a game. We'll make room for you.
All right, sounds like a plan. Coach Will Gray, Pine Bluffs Hornets head coach, join us here on 1480 KRAE. We must take a timeout. We'll be right back after these words.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
We're working hard for your business. I'm A.J. Miller at Kia of Cheyenne, and right now you could save on the 2019 Kia Forte. The 2019 Kia Forte is priceless, yet still offers standard features not found on most of its competitors. With Kia Forte, you can charge your phone with available wireless charging, voice command navigation, and 8-inch touchscreen to help sync up your world. Come into Kia of Cheyenne or call 775-0123 or go to kiaofcheyenne.com and we'll make it easy.
For almost 60 years, 1480 KRAE has been Cheyenne's home for good times and great oldies. Add to that live play-by-play sports featuring high school football and basketball, along with LCCC men's and women's basketball. Now combo that with KYOY FM and you have Cheyenne and the area's only locally owned AM and FM radio stations. But we don't stop there. We also have 2 FM translators which serve the area with programming from both KRAE and KYOY. And that equals a lot of bang for your advertising dollar. Radio yesterday and now today, along with our websites, web streams, and digital ventures makes us your one-stop shop. For more information, please call Don Morris at 307-637-0301.
Introducing Digital Wallet, a new way to pay with Platte Valley Bank. Add your Platte Valley Bank debit card to Google Pay, Samsung Pay, or Apple Pay, and have the ability to make purchases with just your phone. It's secure, simple, and accepted by millions of merchants worldwide. Try it today or check out pvbank.com for more information.
When it comes to sports talk in Cheyenne, it's a whole new ballgame. Let's play ball! You're listening to Wyoming Sports Talk today, and it's only here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Once again, thank you to head coach Will Gray over at Pine Bluffs, 80 to the east of us. And again, the Hornets, real quick here, just look at the schedule, Nick, and then we'll get into the other subjects that we were talking about off air. Pine will open up at Yuma on the first week, and I do believe that's September 6th, so they don't do the 0 week. They will.
Yeah, they're only up for 8 games. Yeah, again, the 0 week is just for Class 4A. No other classes in Wyoming, at least on the football side of things.
So they go with a couple of long road trips. They'll go to Yuma, then they'll take on the Panthers in Wright.
Which are, at least calculating from Yuma and Wright, again, about 120, 125 miles to the south and up north for Pine Bluff. So on the road, at least lengthy road trips for them back-to-back.
They will head to Wright's out by Gillette. Yeah.
But it's about 119, or at least from
Pine Bluffs?
Yeah.
Is it really? I didn't realize that. Southeast, they'll have the Cyclones at home. They'll have Tongue River at home in week 4. They'll have Bighorn at Bighorn week 5.
Which is your longest road trip for them.
Yeah.
Again, about 200 so miles up there by Sheridan. So a long road trip against the defending 1A state champion, the Bighorn Rams.
Then they'll have Burns, the I-80 East battle.
The Battle of Laramie County.
As the Bronx will visit Pine Bluffs. Upton Sundance will come to Pine. That will be on week 7. And then they'll wrap up in Lusk, taking on Niobrara County. So it's an 8, really, even though this is the same schedule as last year, same teams, it is still another power-packed schedule for Coach
And all
Gray.
you do is you get flip-flop home and aways, and I think for Pine Bluffs coming up in 2019, it's very fortunate that, again, few of their losses outside of the Bighorn game, where, again, last year they lost to Bighorn at home there, Pine, 42-7. Again, lost to them on the road up in at least Bighorn, 68-13 in that semifinal matchup in Class 1A. But outside of that, for Burns, they were at Burns last year, lost to them in a close one, 26-20, at least for the Bronx. Now have to travel to Pine. Again, not a far road trip, but at least Pine Bluffs does have that home, at least field advantage there coming up in week 6, which is October 11th for Pine Bluffs. And then also, too, the other lone loss for Pine Bluffs last year was on the road at Upton Sundance, where they lost that contest 35-14. So Upton Sundance in week 7, which will be at least October 18th, you have that team coming down to Pine. So 2 out of your 3 opponents that you lost to are coming to your home territory. So at least for the Hornets, good news on that for the schedule makers. Again, Pine, that is known in Class 1A to be up there with Bighorn. They are the well-known commodities. Like we're talking about Pine Bluffs, where last year
recent success, absolutely.
Yeah, where they had a chance last year to go at least attempt for the three-peat, but again tripped up against Bighorn. So looking to at least renew or at least start a new dynasty, so to speak, with Pine Bluffs this season. Again, the big issue right now is that Bighorn team where, again, in week 5, and that'll be October at least 4th up there in Bighorn. That's the big challenge for the Pine Bluffs Hornets.
And again, too, Bighorn, similar to Sheridan, don't have to rebuild. They reload.
No.
They've done that for the last Oh gosh, last decade, I
I think that's
the Bighorn Rams are pretty doggone out.
And I think what we're seeing here in town, compared on the 4A side of things, where you're seeing it with Cheyenne East as a representation, same with Sheridan, where they are just reloading every single year. Pine Bluffs is kind of in that same category that we're seeing out here in Laramie County, where they can reload. Again, 6-4 last year was their record. Their 6 wins, every single win was a shutout. So that tells you of how dominant that defense is. It's a team that didn't lose a whole lot of pieces, but also too, it is Class 1A, where it's almost on the same vein of what JUCO coaches have to deal with, of kind of that quick turnaround, low numbers. Hey, you got to deal with what you got. But it is a high school. It is a football team that does very well of getting fresh faces in, retaining them, getting that varsity experience, and just getting prepared for the upcoming seasons year in and year out. So Pine, interested to see what they do this season. Anticipate them to make it back to the playoffs, but how far will they go? That is the biggest question when Bighorn still is in their way.
So let's move from high school to the National Football League. If you did not know, this year on Hard Knocks, it's the Oakland Raiders camp.
Mm-hmm. Which episode 1 came out a few days ago.
Yeah, and I watched that, and, everything's all, touchy-feely and happy-go-lucky. And
well, it's the introduction to the camps of players getting out to Napa Valley. Last year, there at Napa for the Oakland Raiders, since they will be moving to Las Vegas.
This will be their last camp there, I do believe.
I do believe so, as I think when they move to Las Vegas, their camp will be I think they're moving it down south somewhere in Arizona, if I'm correct, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But they're going to keep it kind of in the locale region by Las Vegas. So
and it's interesting, too, because
or either I think they will send it over to St. George. I can't remember if it's to Utah or Arizona. But.
And the Raiders have, through the years have been pretty good at keeping it pretty close in that area, because it used to be in Santa Rosa. Now they just, they've built another facility. As they got bigger, everybody wanted them. It's like the 49ers when they made the move. I can't remember where they used to train, but they moved to Rockland, California. I mean, the city of Rockland built all of this nice stuff for the Niners. So I can hardly wait to see where the Raiders will be doing their training.
Unless they could do it at UNLV as well.
Or they may come back to Napa. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But either way, though, it could be the final year. Again, it is the final season as the Oakland Raiders before they move to Las Vegas. But, again, outside of that Hard Knocks episode, it was pretty much of introductory to, the camp, new faces, one being including at least the big superstar, the best wide receiver in the NFL at this point in time, Antonio Brown.
Let's talk about
it. Where he's coming into camp, and something that he dealt with last season, heading into this year, a little foot problem, still at least it's still an issue as we're seeing in the preseason right now for Antonio Brown, but he's minus the foot injury and dealing with that. He's got his own issues right now, and he's kind of the talk of the NFL across the entire league.
And again, he said on social media today that he's looking forward to rejoining his teammates after losing a grievance against the NFL over wearing his old helmet.
Well, and it's something that this season heading into the NFL, where we talk with at least high school coaches about the player safety on the high school side of things. Obviously, NFL is the leader of this. In the offseason, they did work with the Players Association, also too did scientific research, work with bodies to kind of analyze helmets and structures and try to figure out what is going to be improvements for helmet wear. Try to prevent concussions, but it's more so just player safety for anything, just to make sure that those players, when they take these big hits, they're getting back up, and it's nothing that's rocking their world, so to speak. But it is something that the NFL for 2019 has established. They made a little chart where they looked at and analyzed every brand, every type of helmet, and they graded them from red being, hey, you cannot wear this. Yellow is cautious, or it's pretty much of, you can wear it, but let's find a better alternative. And then they have, I think the total is up to about 18 helmets, or at least different styles of helmets, are approved by the NFL, where they are at least recommended by the NFL, the Players Association.
Do you have who's the top dog helmet?
I don't have that list in front of me.
Well, I mean, and I don't know how you either they're called Riddle or Riddell. Is Riddell? Is that what it is?
I do believe.
And then you have Schutt.
Yeah.
They made helmets. So, matter of fact, that was the whole deal with Antonio Brown. He's been wearing this Air Advantage helmet, for 10 years? And I think he's more into the comfortability than worried about, getting his head knocked around.
Well, it's a situation for Antonio Brown where it's comfortability more to him of something he's used to and doesn't want to try out the new helmets, so to speak, that NFL is trying to get into. Basically, how they list it is these green helmets, or at least the helmets that they list, are what are known as top-performing helmets that the NFL is recommending to players, or at least they're somewhat enforcing on their players, as we're seeing right now. Again, the banned ones are at least kind of listed in the prohibited helmets. This includes, for instance, there's a Alt XP by Schutt, Rawlings Impulse helmets. They list, and I got the full list here in front of me, but and again, it looks like about 18, 20 helmets are in that green group. And looking and watching the video that NFL Network put out about this new update about the helmets, it is something that former players are basically saying, hey, we didn't have these options. It's amazing of what we can do of 3D imaging to make it at least kind of comfortable, where I think one player, at least one commentator, said it feels like it's a pillow on your head, that how soft it is, that they can kind of mesh it to, match your jawline, match your head width. If you have any abnormalities with the skull or anything, they can kind of mesh around it to make it a perfect 100% comfortable fit on your head. And they have various technologies. It's no longer of going to the helmet, putting in air, taking out air. It's more so of, here we are, 3D imaging, again, gel inserts. I do believe some have some sort of water in it, or at least there's some technologies in there that they are at least introducing to helmets nowadays. But there's so many ways that they can perfect the helmet to make it to your specs, but also to make sure that at least you're comfortable wearing this helmet as well.
I'm just looking here. The 10 helmets are Rawlings Impulse and Impulse Plus, Quantum, Take-On, SG Varsity, SG 2.0. Then you have the Schutt Vengeance Z10, the Air XP, and the Air XP Pro, and then the Riddle VSR-4. About 200 players used those helmets last season.
And again, those are prohibited by the NFL, where if you are wearing a helmet, or if that's a preference, which AB's helmet is in there, not exactly sure which one he prefers on that list, but it is something that the NFL has come out and said, no, you cannot wear this. And that's what we saw by AB putting out this, at least, grievance to the NFL. Saying,
and he made a big stink about it. I mean, you can sit there and say what you want to say about Antonio Brown, but it's like, it's how do I describe it hey, this is what I feel comfortable in. I mean, am I wrong with that? I mean, he's like, you know what? You guys are ruling us to death with all of your stuff. Now, again, I understand.
But this is something
protection
that
is. I understand.
This is
important.
player safety. This is to make sure that Antonio Brown is not brain dead after his years with the NFL.
What's to say he's not already?
It's kind of a question mark right now. Again, I wouldn't doubt the Raiders are probably regretting picking up Antonio Brown.
With the Raiders, he's definitely brain dead.
But it is something that with this new, at least, I don't want to even say a rule for the NFL, but it is what is kind of lined out and basically saying, hey, these are prohibited. The yellow ones are questionable. You can still play in them, but we don't want you to. And then the green, at least, kind of approved NFL helmets. I have no issue with this. Again, it is all about the player safety, player health. Obviously, everyone wants that. You want to make sure that these players are performing at their top notch, but also that they're at least getting off the field 100% or at least near 100% and not affecting their lives post NFL careers. So this I have no issue with. What AB's trying to do of, hey, I don't like that you it almost feels like with AB of what he's doing right now, it's almost like he feels like he's targeted by the NFL.
No, saying, here's what first off, so we understand what's going on with Brown. He's been dealing with frostbite on his feet as a result of a cryotherapy accident.
Which recently happened, yeah.
And he wanted to wear the helmet he prefers, not the one of the newer model helmets. that the league rules mandate.
And some of these newer helmets as well, too, do replicate or at least are very similar to some of the prohibited ones that, as you mentioned, 200 players have worn last season. Our understanding from these new green-approved helmets is some of them, or at least majority of them, do replicate the older models that are now prohibited.
Well, and here's why he filed this grievance. He believes, Antonio Brown, believes the new certified helmet protrudes out and interferes with his vision as he tries to catch the football. Now, I will say this, being a catcher, I have two of the hockey masks catching.
Yeah. Kind of like the Buster Posey mask.
Yeah, exactly. And the one I had, which I got, I retired that one because I took about 6 shots during the tournament right at the face mask, and I do believe I got a little bit loopy from it. So I think I did get like a minor concussion at this one tournament. I now have a helmet that is very padded thick, especially in the forehead area.
Yeah.
So I'm able to absorb more of those hits when I get a foul ball off the mask. So I can understand where Brown is coming from, but I also understand the new helmets, as you say, soft as pillows, but also, too, you need something to, again, be that shock absorber.
Yeah, without a doubt. But these helmets, and this is according to Play Safe, or at least Play Smart, PlaySafe.com, that listed this out where they're talking about the 2019 helmets by the NFL. But it is something that these helmet models are listed in order, at least according to this website, of their performance in the laboratory testing with a shorter bar representing better performance. Again, there's bar lengths of just by each helmet that at least kind of represents that. The rankings are based exclusively on the ability of the helmet to reduce head impact severity, measures in laboratory testing. Issues with helmet fit, retention, and long-term durability are not addressed in these rankings. Helmets in the top performing group perform well with no statistical difference in performance from the 3 top-ranked helmets. The information presented here is based solely upon the results of this research and the expert opinions of the scientists involved. So that's how this got into it. But again, going back into AB, I show some sympathy for him of where you're used to equipment, and it's even for me where you're used to, for instance, the undershirt that I wear, that players used to wear back in the early 2010s. Again, this combination of at least made by Majestic, where they now no longer make them. Well, it's something that for me as a person, or if I were a player, I'd be begging of Majestic saying, hey, make this because I like this. This was perfect. Why'd you get rid of it?
It's comfortable.
It's something that you're used to. I get it where AB's coming from of where, hey, I'm used to this. I played my career in this helmet. I know my vision, or at least I know what to look for, or what's going to be my hindrance, my kind of blind spots in that helmet with the mask. I get it. But it is something where for your own, what is, it's almost trying to find that compromise. And I wouldn't doubt that there's a helmet or some way to put on a mask or maybe work around a mask to get it to near close enough to what his old helmet was to, all right, let's fit into the NFL standards to make sure that you're healthy and safe, but get close enough where it is what you had last season or at least in the previous 10 years of your career. It's hard to believe that there isn't some combination of helmet, mask, or some way to alter it in slight way to make it where it's still 100% at least safe for you to wear the helmet, that there isn't a combination within these 20 some odd helmets and all face mask combinations out there.
Well, and again, when we were talking with Coach Gallus, and I can still remember my senior year football helmet, where, and again, I can remember my college helmet as well, and my senior year, where at Pittsburgh High School, we had the water air helmets. Mm-hmm. And again, too, you're over there, you tightening it up that way with the air. But also, too, you had little pockets of water in the helmet.
Which they still do. They still have those combinations.
Yeah, but
they've introduced gel as well.
But I remember getting hit on, with a forearm on the helmet. And I mean, boy, I saw stars. Mm-hmm. And then when I went to college, it was basically all air. It was just all air padded throughout the helmet. I don't know what you had over at Cheyenne East. I can't remember.
It was all air.
So it was all air. We didn't really get a chance to look at the UW helmets. I mean, we got to look at the New Jerseys, but we didn't get a chance to look inside the helmets. I guess that would be pretty much close enough to be.
And I wouldn't doubt they got helmets that are probably on this green performance.
The professional, yeah. And again, it would have been nice to look inside those things, but also, too, correct me if I'm wrong, those helmets seem to be more heavier than the ones you wore and than the ones that I wore. And I had a cage for a face mask. I had a 3-bar cage without the middle bar.
The understanding is it depends on what helmet you're putting on, but at least the overall majority of players are saying, or at least those who've tested these things out before we got it here in 2019, there was an issue of it being too heavy on the neck, heavy on the head. It was, like I said, again, it felt like you put a pillow on and you didn't really have a noticeable difference per se compared to what you were wearing in the past. But, and again, these were ex-players trying these out, and there were some non-big name players trying them out saying, yeah, we kind of approve. And obviously that could be PR spin by the NFL trying to do that to make it, hey, look like we got the best thing right now in 2019 with what we did in this testing. But again, I'd like to believe that with technologies of where we are, with how we improve upon equipment and player at least safety and health, whether it is pads, whether it is, again, shoulder pads, again, thigh pads, helmets, it's hard to believe that we would take a step back in sacrifice or at least add weight or make it that much more uncomfortable. I would. It's hard to believe that in 2019 that we would make it to the point where these players, these pro players, don't have the best in the world, where it's pretty much of, you almost feel like you're not wearing all of this padding on there.
No, and first off, you tip your cap to the scientists of the world because, again, you think of, and I'm going to use this here, the testing for automobiles. When you have all the people, all of the dummies strapped in, and they're taking all these absorptions of crashes and what have you. Mm-hmm. The scientific world is also doing the same thing with these type of helmets.
Yeah.
And again, too, I don't know. To me, as I remember picking up one helmet from the University of Wyoming, it almost seemed to me that helmet was heavier than the one that I wore in both college and high school. Again, I'm from the 70s. Okay, this is now the 2000s, and here we are, almost ready to head into.
But you would assume
the
that
2020 decade.
That's obviously decades apart, where these players playing now are used to current helmets. Where I don't think the helmet from probably Antonio starting out at least pro day back in the day is anything different than what it is today. It's just hard to believe that the helmet, other than his vision from the mask or whatever it could be, it's hard to believe that helmet is that much different. And basically what I'm saying is you would assume that these players are used to probably, if it is heavier than what you were at least anticipating in the 70s, you would think that these players are used to that heaviness because it's been in place since their probably early junior high school days and throughout college and pro football, at least in theory, where they would be used to that weight. They'd be used to the new technologies that are at least introduced into helmets. I would assume.
Yeah, again,
it's just hard to believe that it would be that much different in 1 year's time, that the helmet is that vast that players are now at least having difficulties. We even saw that where outside of Antonio Brown, they even talked with at least one, the legend, at least Tom Brady, where he's warming up to the new helmets. Mm-hmm. He's not, I wouldn't say or at least in the quote that he said, he's not hating it, but it is something that he's trying to warm up to at least the new thought of where we are here with the helmet.
Well, and think about it, a quarterback, they have to have a speaker in their helmet so they can hear plays from the sideline.
Yeah.
So, I mean, talk about putting all kinds of gadgets in a quarterback's helmet. But, the thing is, too, you look back at all of the helmets, and I tip my cap to these helmet makers where they're trying to somehow, some way, cut down the absorption of these hits. And again, bigger, stronger, faster. We'll all be in agreement, as opposed to the 1970s. But look at those guys back in the 70s. The Raiders, the Steelers, they were 290. They were 300 pounds on the offensive and defensive lines. And I remember some of those.
And back in those days, you were allowed to do. You're a little bit freer to go at least on your play style, where you weren't penalized for some of the big hits that you are nowadays.
Yeah, but again, offensive linemen and defensive linemen, battling, at the line of scrimmage, they're two rams butting heads. And some of those helmets back in the day did not have any type of lining except for maybe some not cloth lining, but string lining inside. It didn't have all, the absorption you had was for your ears, and then you had some on the top of your head.
Yeah.
But also too, it was kind of like a hammock that was inside your helmet back in the day. So, and I feel bad for those players back in the day. I look at a lot of those guys who now are confined to wheelchairs, and we're talking guys from the 60s and 70s.
Yeah,
and they're older.
You're talking some big names as well too, suffering from Alzheimer's or any other mental illness. We look what happened with Dwight Clark, who suffered from it, fortunately passed away. Again, in a very, at least in our opinion, a young age, where some of his counterparts are living a little bit farther than him. But again, he was affected by at least mental illness due to the fact of the hard hits that he was taking in his football kind of at least days. So,
and that's from the late that's actually from the 80s. Because again, with the 49ers during that time, during the 1980s decade, that's when they started making their mark. Nick, again, we could pull out a helmet from the, if we were lucky enough to do that, pull a helmet out from the professional ranks from the 60s. I don't want to go out in the 50s, because the 50s, you still didn't have face masks. I mean, they were starting to introduce face masks.
Yeah.
But the modern helmet was coming out in the 50s. But you pick out helmets of the 60s, and you'll see what I'm talking about, that hammock style in the middle of the helmets. Then you go into the 70s, where you start modernizing with the water/air. Then you get into strictly air. And again, now air pillow type.
Well, again, gelling, all this other stuff. But it is at least the main theme, as we need to take at least one more commercial break and then get at the top of the hour.
Sorry, this is interesting discussion.
But no, it is a situation for Antonio Brown, for the rest of the NFL players out there that are having issues with this new helmet, at least design, or at least this policy put out by the NFL. It is something where is it worth the risk, or at least are you willing to risk it all to wear some of these prohibited helmets that you're comfortable with that don't affect your play, like Antonio Brown is saying it doesn't affect his vision, but is it worth the risk of tempting fate, so to speak, of running the risks of garnering, some of those mental illnesses that happen to you post-career, that have happened to some of the NFL greats, so at least a good amount. Look, again, go back to the NFL settlement by those of the past, where they said, hey, we weren't prepared for this. We didn't have the great, at least safety standards set in place, and now we're affected, at least by it post our careers. It's kind of the ultimate question right now for it, again, including for one Antonio Brown, is it worth the risk to go back and go out there, play with this old helmet that is now prohibited, with the chance of where you might be cussed for the rest of your life.
But he seems to want to take that chance. But also, too, and you're right about this. Again, got to get to the break. You're probably right about this, too. He would be the first one to whine that he's got problems after the end of his career.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I wouldn't doubt.
All right, we do need to take a timeout. Get ready to get into hour number 2. We're back after these words here on 1480 KRAE. Do you want the peace of mind of a professionally installed security camera system? Then go with a name you trust, High West Digital Solutions, a High West Energy company. The experienced team at High West Digital Solutions will customize a video security system for you, helping you keep an eye on everything going on inside or outside your home or business. Go to hwds.com or call 307-245-4333. High West Digital Solutions, the best choice, the local choice, the right choice for you.
Cheyenne's oldest coin dealer and supplier, The Coin Shop, is proud to serve the community since 1982. Trade or sell your gold, silver, and other precious metals. Visit with David and the knowledgeable staff for a fair and honest assessment of your valuables. Located at 510 West Lincoln Way. Call them today at 778-7196 to schedule your personal consultation.
Capital Lumber is lumber one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need. For electrical, plumbing, paint, and tools, lumber and hardware, we're for you. And we're out to earn your business, yes indeed. Capital Lumber is lumber one today. Are you listening? Capital Lumber's at your service all the way.
Capital Lumber Company, serving our area for over 53 years at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne.
To celebrate Taco John's 50th anniversary, our famous Sierra Chicken Sandwich is back. With grilled chicken and original Sierra sauce wrapped in a warm flatbread, the Sierra Chicken Sandwich is better than ever. Plus, we're giving you a chance to win $50,000, free food, and other great prizes with any medium or large drink purchase. 1 in 3 cups is a winner. Enter the code on the cup to see if you've won $50,000, free food, or other great prizes. The more you play, the more you win. Ole the day at Taco John's.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, sunshine expected, daytime high of 82, mostly clear for tonight with our low down to 52 degrees. Tomorrow continued sunny. We're calling for a daytime high of 82 with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. Mostly clear Tuesday night with a very slight chance of showers and thunderstorms during the evening. Our low down to 52 degrees. And for Wednesday, continued sunny. We're calling for a daytime high of 85 degrees.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. What you are about to hear is a sports talk radio show unlike any other that has ever before been broadcast in the capital city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming's Sports Talk Authority. The Wyoming Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Colorado Rockies, and the Denver Nuggets. The show is local. It's regional, and yes, the show is national as well. Wyoming Sports Talk Today is on the air. If they're talking sports on the radio in Cheyenne, this is the place it happens. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
As we jump into hour number 2, it is being brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne. Here for a limited time only. The Sierra Chicken Sandwich. Don't snooze or you will lose. Taco John's of Cheyenne. Again, offering their Sierra Chicken Sandwich for a limited time only. Kia of Cheyenne over on Nation Way. And again, the Kia family invites you to come on by and drive one of the Kia family off the lot. Whether it's the Soul, Forte, Sorrento, Telluride, or you want to be sporty, you can even test drive the Stinger. Kia of Cheyenne on Nation Way. Platte Valley Bank ×2. You can check out the original location over on Vanda High, the east side location at the corner of College and Pershing. Chick-fil-A at the corner of Windmill and Del Range, Ray and Cindy's Place, right across from Powers Field and Menards for a limited time. Tick, 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 the clock is ticking on their Strawberry Passion Tea Lemonade and their Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich. It's going to be gone before you know it. Medicap Pharmacy over on Bluegrass Circle next door to Texas Roadhouse. They've been there for a long, long time, open Monday through Saturday. Lennox Auto Body, the Auto and Truck Repair Center over on Dunn Avenue, the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard. First Year Bank at 1508 Stillwater Avenue. Made a visit over there today, saw my good friend Tim and the crew over there again where they're offering some great CD rates with wonderful annual percentage yields. Talk to our friends over at First Year Bank, open Monday through Friday. Across the street, it's Mondello's Pizzeria at 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. Joe Mondello has perfected his craft. And again, we're talking home-style recipes that he brought with him when he moved over from the East Coast many, many years ago. And again, this is not corporate. This is family recipes. Again, yes, pizza's pizza. No, not when you experience Mondello's Pizza. Sandwiches, fresh baked bread, all ingredients on the pizza is freshly made. Their calzones, their stromboli. You're going to love all that you can sink your teeth into from Mondello's Pizzeria, open 7 days a week, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. And it's time to get to our scoreboard. It's being brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. Here's Nick.
Looking at yesterday's Expedition League, at least game number 3 of the championship between Western Nebraska, the Pioneers, of the Badlands Big Six in the region action happening in Gering, Nebraska. Well, Badlands gets it done in game number 3, winning 6-5. So the Badlands Big Six, they are your 2019 Expedition League champions. They defeated Western Nebraska, who were 2018 champions. So unfortunately for the Pioneers, they are not back-to-back champions. However, we will talk more about this with owner Chuck Heeman coming up on tomorrow's show. In the local, at least side of things for baseball with Cheyenne Post 6, at least looking at Cheyenne, at least the Hawks, as they compete in the A regional. At least looking at yesterday, they defeated a team out of Montana/Canada by a final score of 7-5. So the Hawks move to the Final Four of their regional tournament, and they will be in action here today. And also, too, regarding Cheyenne Post 6, at least looking for tomorrow, Tuesday, August 13th at Powersfield, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Fall ball tryouts will be happening for Cheyenne Post 6. Again, these tryouts are completely free, and that's what's coming up at least tomorrow over at Powersfield for Cheyenne Post 6.
Major League Baseball, a double dip between the Yanks and the Orioles. Game 1 in the books with the Bronx Bombers winning 8-5 in the Bronx. Game 2 will be on tap here as we depart at 5:05. Also at 5 o'clock, it will be the Red Sox and the Indians from Progressive Field, as the Indians have worked their way into a tie. We'll talk more about that in the AL Central Division. It's the Reds and the Nationals at Nats Park. Rangers and the Blue Jays in the Rogers Center. 6 o'clock game. We'll have the Astros and the White Sox at Guaranteed Rate Field. 6:40, Diamondbacks and the Rocks tonight at Coors Field. Right now, 89 degrees in Lodo. Merrill Kelly getting the call for the Diamondbacks, 7-12, 4.52 ERA. He'll be opposed by Peter Lambert for the Rockies, 2-3, sporting a lofty 6.87 earned run average. The Rockies, by the way, 53-65 on the season. Pirates Angels in the 8 o'clock hour from Angel Stadium, Anaheim. Interleague play, also interleague play for the Rays and the Padres at Petco. They'll get it away around 8:10 Mountain Time. Our scoreboard brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
Yo, this is your cup holder talking. You know me, the little round thing between your car seats. Now, listen, we need to talk. Now, I normally have a nice cold bottle of Mountain Dew in me, but at the moment, I'm empty. That's right, no Mountain Dew. Nothing in here but a couple of quarters and a dime. A fully capable cup holder like me just carrying your loose change, it's embarrassing. Look, I'm not made for loose change. I'm round like a bottle of Mountain Dew. Glistening, cold, and delicious. I'm made to keep Mountain Dew within reach at all times, so you're never far from that incredible bold citrus kick whenever you need it. Just inches from your hand. So find a store already, grab some Dew, toss it back, then place that bottle where it belongs, and put that loose change back in your pocket. Mountain Dew. Do the Dew.
Here the season never ends. From Wyoming sports to the Broncos in Denver. From Rockies baseball to talking hoops with Nuggets basketball. Local, regional, and national. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, right here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Larry Proetti along with Junior across the way, Nick Proetti. Thank you to our first guest in hour number 1. If you missed out, Will Gray, the head coach of the Pine Bluffs Hornets. I do believe you'll have that up tomorrow, right, via SoundCloud. Is that?
SoundCloud's where we hosting no longer on our 1480 KRAE website, as we've had server issues in the past. So instead, all previous audio, at least interviews, will be posted on our SoundCloud site, where you just simply search for Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Even on 1480krae.com/WyoTalk, there is a link to it as well too on our website. So many ways to post. It does post on our Facebook page, Wyoming Sports Talk Today, by simply searching for that, or it's facebook.com/WyoSportsTalk, and also too on the Twitter side, where you can find me at Nick Wyo Sports. So again, many ways to find the audio version of these interviews that we have in the past.
All free.
Yeah,
I took care of it.
Yeah, completely free, and again, unlimited, so you could go back and look at some of the past interviews as well, too. At least our backlog of when I uploaded was about May-ish, so hopefully this is a trend to continue on for years to come. But
it better be a trend, because I paid for a whole year's worth, didn't I?
Yeah, for a full year, so at least up until May. But either way, though, again, on SoundCloud, if you do ever miss an interview, that's where it's going to be uploaded and accessible by anyone. Again, completely free for those. Don't even have to sign up. Don't even have to follow us on the SoundCloud side. Again, you can just click on the audio link, and it's right there for you to tune in at any point in time. So either way, again, as we had Will Gray on, we'll at least post that up tomorrow. We'll have a few guests coming up tomorrow and also on Wednesday's show. One special guest that at least finally roped him in Wednesday. Looking forward to that show, as again there was a big fish out there and finally got him in, and also might have an even bigger fish as well too on at least Wednesday. So keep tuned to our social media sites to see who will be joining us Tuesday and Wednesday, at least coming up this week.
Hell, I don't even know who it is.
Well, you can know off air, but at least for folks, the surprise and mystery, I'll leave it out there where you might want to tune in at least for Wednesday's show.
All right.
And Tuesdays as well.
All right, sounds good. You were mentioning before we got back into the program
something that just got passed.
Basketball. Basketball.
Yeah, as we haven't even started football at this point in time at the University of Wyoming, but they have released just recently, as I got this across on the male side of things. But
this is the men's schedule.
Yeah, this is Wyoming Cowboys. This is Coach Alan Edwards' at least team heading into the 2019-2020 season for Cowboy basketball. Non-conference schedule has been posted. Dates, not times or even at least TV, but more so of just dates and opponents and locations have been listed. How about this for the Cowboys? Kind of a notable thing happening week or at least around Thanksgiving out in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena in the MGM main event is what they're calling it. Cowboys will compete in that event. Where in one contest they will face against the Colorado Buffaloes in that opener, and then afterwards they will face off against either Clemson or former Mountain West rival and the TCU Horned Frogs. So
that's a good tournament.
So that's, again, not too bad to compete for Wyoming Cowboys to kind of put their name on the national spotlight. Would assume that this main event will be at least showcased on some sort of national television, ESPN, CBS. Who knows what's going to happen? But again, Cowboys making a name for themselves, or at least going to attempt to, against some big names. Again, you're looking at Pac-12, Colorado, Clemson, and also now Big 12 former Mountain West foe, TCU, the Horned Frogs. Now, regarding the Clemson matchup, if Wyoming does face Clemson, it would mark the first contest between at least against the Tigers since 1987, where they met up in the NIT. So history could be on the line, or at least could be made in Las Vegas in that main event, at least tournament style that's happening there in Las Vegas.
So what else do we have on the preseason schedule?
How about this for an exhibition contest, if anyone really cares, but October 30th, Wednesday, October 30th, there in the AA. How about Northwest Nazarene? Never heard of that, but that will be your exhibition contest for the Cowboys if you are
I'll
that
look
intrigued.
that up for you here.
How about the season opener in the Dome of Doom will be against the Idaho State Bengals out of the Big Sky. That will be Tuesday, November 5th. How about this for Wyoming as they keep this home and away at least trend going for South Carolina? They will be heading to Columbia. This will happen on November 10th. That will be a Sunday. Looking forward to that matchup. And what else?
Oh, no, I was going to say Northwest Nazarene University is out of Nampa, Idaho. Let's see, undergraduate enrollment about 1,244.
It's an exhibition game, so it doesn't matter. So it's just a tune-up game that the Cowboys hopefully should kind of whip the floor, or at least
wipe the floor, you mean?
Yeah, either way, just whip on this team out of Nampa, Idaho. So there's that for your exhibition contest. Outside of the South Carolina contest, Cowboys will have 4 straight home games. The Cowboys will face Cal State Fullerton. That will be on Wednesday, November 13th. They will host Oregon State on Saturday, November 16th. The Pokes will then, on Tuesday, November 19th, take on Detroit Mercy, and then round up Thursday, November 21st, before heading out to Las Vegas. They will host Louisiana in that 4-game home stretch. And then looking at to round out the non-conference schedule for the Wyoming Cowboys, they will host Northern Colorado, the Bears, once again. That'll be December 14th, and we know what happens when the Bears come up to the Dome of Doom. And then also, too, Utah Valley will be in Laramie as well, Wednesday, December 18th. And then Cowboys will play a pre-Christmas matchup at Denver on Saturday, December 21st. And then last but not least, to round out this non-conference schedule, will be at least the Cowboys will be taking on Nebraska Wesleyan.
Mm-hmm.
That will be happening in Laramie Saturday, December 28th.
It's not a bad preseason schedule. And, you mentioned Northern Colorado. They got to come back to the Dome of Doom.
It's not phased them. They've won back-to-back years.
Well, they're looking for a three-peat.
Yeah.
So, but again, the preseason schedule, and it's always tough to get opponents to come to your place. And again, you usually have to do home and home with with the big boys,
What you're doing with South Carolina.
Yeah.
Granted, South Carolina's not a big.
But in some cases, it's a 2-for-1. Where you come here, we got to go twice to your place. So, this is a situation where I'm okay with the preseason schedule. It's not great, but it's not bad. And again, when you go to Vegas, and I think that makes for a good little trip to Vegas.
No, there's
that little tournament.
Without a doubt, again, the MGM main event happening in T-Mobile Arena. Again, that's November 24th and November 26th, where you're going to see the likes of Colorado, potentially Clemson or TCU. Again, you're looking at Pac-12, ACC, and then now Big 12 with TCU. That's some big names in the Cowboys getting that fortune, or at least getting that invite. That's huge for the program, huge for those players as well, too. A nice little test, possibly. Potential for the Cowboys to play a little bit of spoiler, where they're going to be probably heavy underdogs heading into most of those contests. But
well, yeah, and you're going to roll with the big boys. Colorado probably would be around your stature. But again, when you got the likes of Clemson in there, TCU, and actually you got to put Clemson on top. If I'm ranking them, Clemson, TCU, and Wyoming, Buffs right around, tied for third there.
But either way, though, it's a big contest where the Cowboys have competed in some of these non-conference tournament style, at least contests or events. This is another one to kind of put these Cowboys on the map, help with the recruiting as well too, showcase what the team can do on the national spotlight, where I would assume that this is going to be held, whether it is on a Fox Sports 1, CBS Sports Network. It's going to get national television time.
No, we'll see.
I would assume.
Wait and see. It's a preseason tournament.
I would assume that if MGM is putting their name on it, MGM is probably going to want some at least TV time to advertise what their products are there in Las Vegas. So I would anticipate that. But outside of that, again, the non-conference, again, the Louisianas of the world, Oregon State, there's one Pac-12 team that you'll take on. It's not bad. It's a non-conference that's, I'd say, probably even on where, if you run the table, if the Cowboys miraculously do that, probably give you a nice little bump on the RPI, but nothing too spectacular in my opinion. Again, notable, or at least the tough contest, again, Colorado is going to be tough. Northern Colorado as well. We know what the Bears can do. Oregon State,
tough.
That's going to be tough. Again, who knows with Louisiana coming in.
Tough.
South Carolina, where you got to head to Columbia for that game. That's going to be a little bit tough for them. Idaho State, the Bengals coming at least down from Pocatello. We'll see what happens there. Overall, it's going to be another challenging non-conference for Coach Allen Edwards and the Cowboys.
Well, and again, too, this is going to be a young team again. So we talk about baptism by fire.
Yeah.
Again, the Nampa, Idaho, when you're taking on the Nazarene University group, that's one of those things where, okay, yeah, we want you to get a feel of, hey, here it is, here's that next step up for you younger guys. But, then it just starts getting, you start climbing the ladder, and by the time you get to that Thanksgiving tournament, you're rolling with the big boys.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And you better be ready. You better strap it up.
And that's the question where we've heard that, or at least getting the understanding from 180 Tom Bourbon about this season regarding Coach Allen Edwards and what happened last season heading into 2019-2020. There's a fire right under Coach Allen Edwards for this year. It is also a team that's missing Justin James. Granted, you're going to rely on Hunter Maldonado to see what he does, and a few other Cowboys who, at least where they were a young bunch last year, at least riddled with injuries. Hopefully the team is full back in strength, and it's a team that should be, in theory, again, you're older, you're wiser heading in, that this team is going to be tested, but can probably do special things, could rebound. Clearly they should rebound from what happened last year. If they have a repeat of last year, then questions should be arise, and we'll talk about that at that point in time. But Cowboys, I think, can hold their own in this non-conference schedule against most of these teams. I really think they can.
But you mentioned the fire under Coach Edwards.
Well, he's on the hot seat. We do know he's on the hot seat. Again, go back to the interview we had with Tom Berman.
I understand that, but here's the deal. If this team does not perform well during this preseason, there's not going to be too many butts in seats. If they
don't do well in the non-conference, it's going to be an indication of what's going to happen in the Mountain West. It's going to be a possible repeat of what we had last season, without a doubt.
And again, when you have lack of attendance, that usually spells disaster for the guy running the program. So, for the Cowboys this year, they're going to, again, you can't lose to the likes of University of Northern Colorado. You just can't lose.
Even though they're a respectable program in the Big Sky.
I'm not beating them up for that, Nick. I'm just saying these are the programs that you are expected to win.
You should. Again, this is a program that is, again, they're all in Division I, but it is in a lower conference.
I know, but you're going to Columbia. Sometimes, we give you a pass on that. Oregon State, it's a Pac-12 team. Long as you compete.
Yeah.
These are the kind of passes you give.
But again, the Cowboys should beat in Idaho State. They should defeat Cal State Fullerton.
They should, but they may not.
They should beat this Detroit Mercy team.
They may not.
Louisiana, possibly against Louisiana. At Denver, again, the Pioneers, they face off pretty well. They're like Northern Colorado. They fare well, especially now with Wyoming having to go down to Denver. That's going to be a tough little matchup there. Again, that's December 21st. And then Nebraska Wesleyan, you should beat them at home without a doubt. But outside of that, again, South Carolina should be tested. Don't anticipate them to win. Oregon State would not be surprised if the Beavers win that contest. And again, in that MGM main event, if Cowboys can't defeat Colorado, Clemson, or TCU, again, not surprised, would not be hurt by that. If anything, for the Cowboys, it's pretty much a cherry event for them of if they do pick up a win, hey, not bad to do that on a national stage.
Well, and again, too, without even, bouncing the ball on the floor right now, this team, usually you always kind of set your sights at 500. To me, if I look at it right now with the returners coming back and with the group that he's bringing in, I give him the old work in progress. I think every game's going to be a work in progress.
It should be an improvement this year, but don't anticipate this team to win the Mountain West Championship. Don't anticipate them to make probably the NIT or the NCAA tournament, but it is a team that, in theory, on paper, should improve from where we were last year, where that was one of the worst seasons the Cowboys had in recent memory and probably at least in program history. You would assume that the Cowboys should improve, and probably my expectations for the Cowboys as we're at least previewing basketball, here we are in August, and we have not even started football, but for the Cowboys on basketball side of things, I anticipate, again, looking at this non-conference in the Mountain West Conference as a whole, what the Cowboys will be doing. Cowboys should be a 500 team this season altogether. I think they should improve to that mark. And I think that's where their expectations should held of where kind of float with that 500, if not get their head above the water.
I'm glad you got those expectations, but also, too, again, going back using Coach Edwards' words, he's got a lot of youth that's coming in.
He had a lot of youth. I got a lot of playing time last year, though, too.
But the recruits that he's bringing in, again, don't know the D1 routine. You can't just play offense. You got to play defense in Division I.
And we're talking
that's
also
the work in progress.
We already saw what happened this offseason as last year as well for the Cowboys of losing some pieces as well, too. Some recruits leaving that program for whatever reason, whether it's health or deciding to at least get away move on from the University of Wyoming. So they've already had that. But in the core, or at least of your anticipated starting five, all five of your at least projected starters, if healthy, have had plenty of that NCAA playing time, have touched the basketball plenty of times for the Wyoming Cowboys, that they should be fine coming up in 2019-2020. They should be prepared enough for the challenges that kind of awaits them upcoming this season.
I throw my arms up and say, it's a work in progress.
Yeah, without a doubt. I don't hold the high expectations for this team to do wonders in the Mountain West Conference or at least sweep through the entire non-conference schedule. But it is a team that should improve from last year, without a doubt.
They got to put the biscuit in the basket, which they couldn't do without James last year.
That tells me that you got to alter your offense.
Well, we'll see. We'll definitely see how things come about for the 2019-2020 Wyoming Cowboys.
But again, basketball won't start. Yeah, basketball won't start officially.
I'm glad that you gave us that preseason schedule. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Again, preseason or at least non-conference Cowboy basketball with the exhibition contest against Northwest Nazarene. Again, will officially happen there in Laramie Wednesday, October 30th. So mark your calendars down. That's when Cowboy basketball officially starts here. Again, October 30th over there in Laramie.
We need to take a timeout. We will be right back after these words here on 1480 KRAE. First Tier Bank strives to remain competitive and offers some of the best CD rates in the community, as well as area banks and credit unions per Rate Watch reports. How does that make a difference to you? First Tier Bank can assist you in securing some of the best rates on CDs. First Tier Bank offers the personalized customer service you've grown accustomed to and deserve. Plus, feel confident that your finances are taken care of by a responsible, knowledgeable staff. Call 307-632-3500 and ask for Caitlin or Debbie. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Wisdom, expertise, compassion, qualities that are the foundation of Cheyenne Urological. With Doctors Bryant, Everett, Gajewski, and their highly trained staff providing top quality treatment for prostate cancer, urinary tract infections, kidney stones, impotence, and incontinence, you can trust Cheyenne Urological to give you the highest quality urinary care. Now offering the latest in robotic surgery, call Cheyenne Urological at 635-4131. That's 635-4131.
We are the key to your cleaning success. The Key People that provides affordable office and professional cleaning services for over 40 years with exceptional customer care. All of our contractors have background checks and are licensed and bonded. We guarantee you a safe and secure service that is tailored to your individual and business needs. The Key People do not impose year-long contracts, and all quotes are free, confidential, and personalized. Call Key People at 1-800-468-8283. That's 1-800-468-8283.
Chick-fil-A is a proud supporter of our high school athletes at East, Central, and South. May the school year bring success to all of you. Before you start your day, stop by Chick-fil-A for a hearty, delicious, and satisfying breakfast, only at Windmill and Del Range. Breakfast is served Monday through Saturday from 6 in the morning till 10:30 a.m. Breakfast with Chick-fil-A, the most important meal of the day at Windmill and Del Range.
Wyoming PACE, program of all-inclusive care for the elderly, has outgrown its current facility. We will now be located at 1200 East 20th Street on July 16th. The new location will allow us to help even more of Laramie County's aging population. At our new Wyoming PACE location, we will continue to offer medical and social health services, as well as transportation and activities for our participants. For more information, please call 307-773-8112.
If it happens on the diamond, the hardwood, the field, or even the ice, we'll talk about it on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Hi, this is Nick Peretti inviting you to join Larry Peretti and myself each weekday from 3 to 5 p.m. as we, along with our special guests, talk sports locally, regionally, and nationally. And you can chat with us too at 307-514-1071. It's Wyoming Sports Talk today only on 1480 KRAE, and you can stream live with us at 1480krae.com.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, sunshine expected, daytime high of 82, mostly clear for tonight with our low down to 52 degrees. Tomorrow continued sunny. We're calling for a daytime high of 82 with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. Mostly clear Tuesday night with a very slight chance of showers and thunderstorms during the evening. Our low down to 52 degrees. And for Wednesday, continued sunny. We're calling for a daytime high of 85 degrees.
Got something to say? Then get it off your chest right now. Phone lines are open at 307-514-1071. Make your opinion count and call the show. Wyoming Sports Talk today.
Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk today. I'm telling you, our program's going by pretty fast here today, and some interesting discussions that we've had. And again, it doesn't seem like we've delved into much
We've only talked NFL,
basketball, NFL helmets, and then, of course, we had Will Gray on. Now we're going to talk about Wyoming Cowboy football. I know this is going to take us up to the top of the hour, but tell us a little bit that we received from Sports Information Director Tim Harkins. I don't want to say it's a special event because it's happened before.
It's nothing new, and it's something that, at least with the Mountain West and also to Stadium, it has been doing with this conference, and again, trying to find different ways to promote at least the Mountain West Conference on the football side of things. But it was announced, or at least officially made today, for the Air Force game where the Cowboys competed against the Air Force Falcons Saturday, November at least 30th. That will be kicking off at noon Mountain Time there at Falcon Stadium there at the Air Force Academy. That game will be showcased on Facebook, by at least through the partnership with Stadium. Again, the Mountain West has 7 games to air exclusively on Facebook, so there's that option. Again, it's nothing new. Stadium and Facebook have been partnered, or at least been doing this for about a couple seasons now, if I am correct on that. Looking at a few other games that will be at least featured and showcased through Stadium on Facebook. You look at August 31st, Weber State at San Diego State. September 7th will be Stony Brook at Utah State, and also Arkansas State at UNLV. September 21st, Sacramento State at Fresno State. October 19th will be San Jose State or at least San Diego State at San Jose State. And on November 30th, again, outside of the Wyoming Air Force game at noon, second game that day will feature Utah State at New Mexico. Again, all 7 of those games exclusively on Facebook through Stadium. And I do believe also to those universities, at least the athletic sites, at least Wyoming Athletics, also to Wyoming Cowboy Football, they should promote and put those on their own Facebook pages. So that's how you would access that. Again, the move by the Mountain West Conference to do this Facebook integration to get some sort of monies towards, again, through the partnership with Stadium, whatever. I don't know. Am I really going to be that, at least, am I going to go out of my way to go to Facebook to watch a game?
No,
not really.
No.
It's
just another one of those special events that they're...
It's not bad. It's not bad, again, for the diehard fans. It's a free entity, as long as you do have a Facebook page and have that accessibility and you know where to look for that live game.
And you don't have to go to the Air Force. You don't have to go down to Colorado Springs.
That's true, too, especially there late November, where who knows what the roads and what conditions will be down there in Colorado Springs. But,
I'll say this, though. Let me interrupt, though. If you've never been to a service academy, and obviously, Navy and West Point too far away, but Colorado Springs and the home of the Air Force Falcons, you have to go once in your life and see a football game at the Air Force, because it's all what the pomp and circumstance is all about. It's sold out. It don't matter what their record is. It's sold out.
The Cowboys game that I saw years ago, where at least you got me a ticket for, that was not sold out from what I saw. I think that was where Cowboys, and that was the either at least year before Dave Christensen was on his way out as being head coach of the Wyoming Cowboys. But I've been there where fans do attend, but I wouldn't say that place sells out. But at least the pregame ceremonies where you do have the Falcon flying across the field, again, where you have the cadets where they're doing the push-ups due to the touchdowns. Again, at least everything that encompasses the game, it is a special event. But again, is it something where you're anticipating at least standing room only there in Falcon Stadium? No. Usually there are going to be seats available, because let's be honest, again, Air Force football, it's not a powerhouse team. It's not known for winning year in and year out in the Mountain West Conference. Here we are in this season where it might be a little bit better on attendance there at Falcon Stadium, depending on how they do throughout the Mountain West Conference. But I don't anticipate it's going to be hard to get tickets.
It's a stadium that holds, if I'm not mistaken, around 57,000. Every time I have been to an Air Force game, which has been obviously Air Force in Wyoming, in my years there, I've never seen that place not packed. So I would be shocked.
It's not dead empty, but when I was there, it was not full, and there were sections of me, or at least rows, where it was pretty empty. But that was later in the season. That's where both teams were pretty much out of it, at least the time that I went. Again, that was years ago. But Again, don't be discouraged, fans. If you want to go down November 30th to go see that game, I would not doubt that tickets still probably available to go see that game in Colorado Springs if you do want to make that trip on down to Colorado.
Well, and they also have seats that are also reserved for the Cowboys, which are right around about the end zone. Let's see, I got to remember that would be the north end zone area, and I'm trying to remember where else they stick the Cowboy fans. It's somewhere around that north end zone and up to about the 5-yard line. They're not the most spectacular seats in the house. All right, we got to move on to Major League Baseball. And here's what I like. MLB has released their 2020 season already, their schedule.
Yeah, for whatever reason. Again, we're not even done with 2019 at this point in time, but notable, at least, events. It's something that we didn't get a chance to talk about, or at least I don't think we did last week's show, but it was announced last week, the big thing happening in 2020 out in Iowa at the Field of Dreams, or at least the filming of the Field of Dreams, and granted it is now referred to it, but out there in the middle of the cornfields of Iowa, where MLB is currently building an 8,000 stadium, at least
8,000 seat
stadium. You will have the Field of Dreams game between the New York Yankees and the Chicago White Sox, and what an awesome event! I think that is probably the coolest thing that the MLB has done in years.
And again, they're not touching the Field of Dreams itself.
They're building the new stadium across. It'll be right next to it, and there will be a walkway in between the cornfields, between at least the filming spot and the new stadium. And again, it's only for 8,000. It is first come, first serve on those tickets, and I would not doubt they're going to sell out day one.
But yeah, once they're put up for sale, forget about it. It's toast. That's one of the events that happened.
We know that also too for 2020 that L.A. will unfortunately be the Dodgers, or at least Dodger Stadium will be the site for the 2020 All-Star Game. So.
That ought to make Chris happy that you're dissing on Dodger Stadium as the host for the All-Star Game.
I know I'm not going, but other than that, though.
You're not welcomed anyway to go.
I really don't care, again, to go out to Dodger Stadium for All-Star Weekend, but that's where it's going to happen. Again, at least Dodgers get that opportunity next season.
There will be a new field opening next year. That'll be Globe Life Field, the new home of the Texas Rangers.
Oh, yeah. It's being built across, and it's the same. Again, where I've been at the old Globe Life, saw the construction last year of the new Globe Life. It's pretty much an exact replica for the Texas Rangers, but again, it's updating the facilities, the facade. So at least Rangers, all they're doing is just basically moving across the street. It's essentially just moving across one parking lot.
It'll also be the 7th big league stadium with a retractable roof. So you got Toronto, Arizona, Seattle, Houston, Milwaukee, Miami. Tampa Bay has a fixed roof, but this one will have a retractable roof because it does get plenty hot down there, and it also gets thunderstorms down there.
Well, hot and also the humidity and just a chance to kind of cool things down where, again, around this time, being there at that Globe Life Park, it's pretty miserable to sit
sticky.
Yeah, it's almost a miserable, at least, experience to go sit in those games out there. But
Major League Baseball will open up for business March 26th. That will be the earliest start.
That is official opening day. Yeah,
that is official opening day. Also, a late April series in Puerto Rico between the New York Mets and the Miami Marlins. So
again, more international flair for MLB, where they've done the Japan series, the Australia series, now heading to Puerto Rico, where fans should show out for this one. Again, another cool thing. I have no issue with MLB doing these international series outside of Puerto Rico, where we saw this year, again, going to the London series, which they will do again.
Well, they started in Japan with the A's in Seattle.
Well, yeah, they had the Japan, where at least that was the official start of the MLB season, because those games did count towards the regular season. But this international flair of trying these new events, where they've gone to Mexico, they've gone to Australia, London, Puerto Rico now, I think it's a cool thing. I think it's a good thing for MLB to grow the fan base, also to get those folks out there in front of them. Again, some of those home country folks that may be playing for the Marlins or the Mets at that point in time, that's who will be competing in that Puerto Rico series. It will be the Mets versus the Marlins.
Also, as I'm looking at all of this stuff that's going down here, let's see. The World Series. The regular season will end September 27th of next year. That puts the World Series on track to end before November October 20th through the 28th.
Which is not an issue. We've seen years where it bleeds into November.
I know.
Well.
And all you need is a couple, 3 days of rain, depending on an outdoor stadium.
We saw that. We go back to 2012, where
in San Francisco.
Well, and I'm talking more of in Detroit, where it got a little chilly, a little cold, a little at least rainy up there, but did not affect that World Series win for the San Francisco Giants. Did not delay anything. They still played it, so not a big issue, but it is something of trying to avoid those weather events. As we see, as weather's been a factor throughout 2019 already, just trying to avoid that. If for whatever reason a Colorado gets into it at that point in time, November, late October, that's where you usually get your snow for snowfall and stuff. So,
well, when I look back to the Bay Area Series, because yesterday in San Francisco they recognized the 1989 championship San Francisco Giants,
and they announced who is going to get their number retired,
and they eventually ended up losing to the Oakland Athletics there in the '89 series. That was also known as the Earthquake Series, where at that time former commissioner, the late Fay Vincent, postponed the World Series for a week. So that also bled into November as well when they finally restarted the World Series.
That's natural causes, which, hey, you got to deal with at a point in time.
I know. I'm just
natural
saying.
events, hey, it could happen. You got to prepare for that.
Well, they're starting earlier to end earlier. I understand that. And again, too, with Major League Baseball, here's what you're going to run into. March,
we've already seen is hell out here.
Yeah, typically I would hope they don't have the Rockies scheduled to open up in Denver.
No, usually they make sure the Rockies are on the road for about a couple weeks, but we saw even this season when they were back in Denver, we had those snowouts. We had the cancellations. Again, it affected the one Giants game that we saw get made up. The Mets series that got snowed out.
The worst weather that we've seen over the last couple of years has been in May.
Yeah.
That's been the most cancellations for Major League Baseball. And I'm talking from the east to the left coast.
But outside of shortening the season to the point where you just avoid May altogether, or find a reason for some of these Midwestern Rocky Mountain teams like Colorado to go play in Seattle or go play down in Arizona, go to Tampa Bay, go somewhere away from those regions. Again, MLB has to deal with it. You have to kind of adjust on the fly for those situations. So it is what it is. That's why you do have those extra dates. You do have those chances to play doubleheader. So
it's like Baltimore and the Yankees are playing a double dip today. I think they're making up for when they had the hurricane or something like that, or some tropical storm that passed through Baltimore.
I have no idea.
Anyway, it's just it's like you said, weather is a common phenomenon that happens in Major League Baseball. Let's take one last time out. We're going to come back, and we're going to get ready to wrap things up here on Wyoming Sports Talk today.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
At Medicap Pharmacy, we concentrate on nothing but your medications and your health. Each location is a locally owned, full-service neighborhood pharmacy. We won't make you walk through aisles and aisles of stuff or wait in a long line. Instead, we'll always make time for you by listening, answering your questions, and explaining your prescriptions.
Medicap Pharmacy, we'll always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
The end of the summer is in sight. Did you accomplish all of your home improvements and remodeling projects? Whether you're remodeling your kitchen or adding a little extra space for your growing family, a home equity line of credit with Platte Valley Bank can help you finish what you want to complete this summer. So stop in and we'll show you the hidden value in your home with a home equity line of credit with Platte Valley Bank.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All lines of credit are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply.
We'll work hard for your business, and we'll work just as hard to keep it. I'm AJ Miller for Kia of Cheyenne, and you need to see the new 2019 Kia Sportage today. The 2019 Kia Sportage offers numerous options and advanced driving features that help you know who is around you and how best to stay in control. Kia Sportage offers many standard features for the money. Some of the competition does not. Come into Kia of Cheyenne, call 775-0123 or go to KiaofCheyenne.com We'll make it easy.
Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. This week's Super Radio buys heard only right here feature Pepsi products, 24-pack, 12-ounce cans, $4.99. Jose Cuervo Gold or Silver Tequila, 750 milliliter bottle, $13.99. And Keystone Light or Ice, 30-pack, 12-ounce cans, $18.99. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low-price leader.
To celebrate Taco John's 50th anniversary, our famous Sierra chicken sandwich is back. With grilled chicken and original Sierra sauce wrapped in a warm flatbread, the Sierra chicken sandwich is better than ever. Plus, we're giving you a chance to win $50,000, free food, and other great prizes with any medium or large drink purchase. 1 in 3 cups is a winner. Enter the code on the cup to see if you've won $50,000, free food, or other great prizes. The more you play, the more you win. Ole the day at Taco John's.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, sunshine expected, daytime high of 82, mostly clear for tonight with a low down to 52 degrees. Tomorrow continued sunny. We're calling for a daytime high of 82 with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. Mostly clear Tuesday night with a very slight chance of showers and thunderstorms during the evening. Our low down to 52 degrees. And for Wednesday, continued sunny. We're calling for a daytime high of 85 degrees.
We're taking Cheyenne, Wyoming Sports Talk Radio to a whole new level. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
Don't look at me. I think these people are completely nuts.
Stop this crazy thing! And it's only here on AM 1480 KRAE.
In Major League Baseball, if you had any last-minute hopes for the Rocks, put a fork in that. It's done. The Houston and San Diego series pretty much wrapped up things for Colorado. They are mired in last place, 25 games off the pace. But, again, behind the Diamondbacks or the Giants, 6 games. And the Giants, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're 4 out of the
3.5.
3.5, so you're right now looking at.
Well, they have a 4-game series on the road, I do believe, against the Diamondbacks coming up. So a chance for them to vault over Arizona. That sits above them. They are at 500 right now. So Giants have
Diamondbacks have Rockies right now.
Yeah, I was going to say Giants actually have the A's for 2 games at home. Then they'll be on the road for a 4-game series for the Arizona Diamondbacks. So that's what's upcoming for the Giants.
Out of the 6 races, right now only 2 are worth anything to talk about. Central, Indians have tied the Twins, so the Twins have fallen on some hard times. They're both at 71 and 47, so we are looking at 118 games and only about 43, 44 left to go. Let's see, that's in the AL Central, NL Central. Got to race there. Cubs been battling with the Cardinals. The Brewers have fallen on hard times as of late. So
yeah, I don't know about that. They're still 2.5 back.
They're 2.5 back, and the Cards are 2 out.
Milwaukee's actually in their last 10 better than St. Louis, but again, they're 2.5, half game behind St. Louis, so competitive for the wild card, but also still a shot. The NL Central, probably with the AL Central, probably going to come down to game 162.
And how about the Mets? The amazing Mets.
The Mets, who right now, out of any team that is in the wild card in the National League, they have one of the highest chances to now make it to the postseason, where we wrote them off about a couple weeks ago. Now have a shot. They sit right now a game and a half back behind Washington, 8 in total behind at least the Atlanta Braves. So they're not winning the NL East, but they still have that shot right now to get into the wild card.
And that's of the races that are anywhere close. That is probably the closest race in the NL East, where the Braves have a 6.5 game lead. Dodgers are wiping everybody just clean in the in the West. Yeah. 19 ahead of the Diamondbacks. The Astros are 10 ahead of the Athletics. I'll get back to the Swinging A's here in a minute. And Tampa still hanging tough. They're 9 out in the East.
A lot of these division winners now are getting fairly determined at this point in time, where it is pretty much set in stone that the NL West is pretty much wrapped up. I would say AL West is wrapped up with Houston. I'll even entertain the AL East is wrapped up, and on the fringe right now is the NL East as well, too, with the Atlanta Braves. But going back to the, at least, New York Mets of what they're doing, how about this for the upcoming games to round out at least August, where their only fair series, but it's on the road, is against the Kansas City Royals. That'll happen August 16th to the 18th, but upcoming they'll have a 3-game set on the road against Atlanta. After they're done with Kansas City, they are home for 3 against the Cleveland Indians, so taking on that team. Home against the Atlanta Braves for 3, home against the Cubs for 3, and then 2 to round up at least the month of August at Philadelphia. So some big names there, but for the Mets, fortunate enough that they're playing at Citi Field, but they're going to have a real test coming up here in August to make sure it's pretty much that gut check time.
They played well against the Nats, except for yesterday. You know the team and I'm feeling for them right now because they have turned it around, especially in the second half. Talk about the Athletics. They're 16 games above 500 and may not make the playoffs.
Well, that tells you how talented the American League is at this point.
Yeah, and the National League is fighting to be average, except for your Atlantas and your Dodgers. Everybody else is average.
And the A's, again, looking at their upcoming schedule for August 2 here, they will be on the road in San Francisco to take on the Giants.
And they've done well against San Francisco.
Yeah, in years past, they've done very well in that Bay Bridge series. But after the 2 games, then they'll have looks like a 4-game series at home against the Houston Astros, 3 games at home against the New York Yankees. They'll be at home as well, too, against the Giants to round out that 4-game in total series of the Bay Bridge series here in the month of August. They will be on the road against Kansas City for, it looks like, 4, and then to round out the month of August, 2 at Yankee Stadium against the New York Yankees. So outside of the Kansas City, at least, contest,
it's tough.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough schedule for the A's.
But see, here's the deal. We've all been waiting for Tampa to fold up tent. They haven't done it.
No.
So you've got Tampa, and you got either the Twins or Cleveland right now. One of those teams is the number 1 seed for the wild card, and you got Tampa at number 2, and then you got the A's that are about a game and a half behind Tampa for that second spot. The A's could win 90 games this year and may not make the playoffs.
And right now, the A's out of the wild card are probably the only team that has a legitimate shot. Where you look right after them, 6 games sitting behind them is the Boston Red Sox, where not going to write them off, but that's a long, at least, hill to climb where we do have 40 games remaining, and the season is winding down pretty quickly right now in MLB. Behind them is the Texas Rangers at 9 out behind Tampa Bay. LA, the Angels, where we thought they were going to make a run of it, now 11 games back of it, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse from there then on out. But out of the National League, in the wild card, behind St. Louis, Milwaukee, as I mentioned, again, half game behind them. At least Mets are 1 game behind St. Louis. 2 is for the Philadelphia Phillies, 3 for the Arizona Diamondbacks, 3.5 for the Giants, 5 games for the Cincinnati Reds, 6.5 for the San Diego Padres, and 9 it stands for the Colorado Rockies outside of the wild card.
Well, you mentioned the Giants and the A's, and there's still that glimmer of hope for you and me that the Giants got a shot. But if they don't do it over the next 9 games, 7 of them are on the road. They got 2 at home with Oakland tomorrow and Wednesday. Then they go on the road. I mean, they got to stretch 4 at Arizona, and then they'll get a day off on Monday the 19th, and they're back at it the 20th, 21st, 22nd.
Well,
they're in Chicago. They don't do it.
Yeah,
those 9 games.
for the Giants, for the Diamondbacks, granted, they're seeing the Rockies, but again, for Arizona, for San Francisco, for the Mets, for the Oakland A's, for these wildcard teams, they got a tough row ahead. This is kind of that gut check time of what are you made of here in the month of August to get it done.
I give the A's, since they're going to go with Bumgarner tomorrow, I'm going to give them a split with the Athletics.
Out of the 2 games.
In Oracle. Out of the 9 road games, because they go to, after Chicago, they go to Oakland for 2. On that road trip of those 9 games, if they don't go at least 6-3 on the road, stick a fork in them.
And they could. Again, San Francisco in the NL West, they have a phenomenal record against Western Division opponents, so at least in the NL. So, again, Giants can get it done. They've done it before. They know how to defeat the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, again, we're for the Giants. Don't have to worry about seeing Zach Greinke at this point in time, again, as he's moved on. So there's one ace for that 4-game road trip that the Giants don't have to worry about. But, again, 3 on the road against the Cubs. do okay against the Central, but again, have had their struggles against the Cubbies. Again, A's, we'll see what happens. They've always just had an issue with Oakland, no matter what team kind of shows up for that.
They do see Homer Bailey on, looks like they're going to see him on Wednesday. They get Anderson tomorrow night. Bumgarner goes up against Anderson. That's why I kind of throw it in the lap of the Giants. Madison's thrown well.
But Giants, again, in the month of August, have it's not too daunting of a schedule. They will be tested, but it is something that in numbers, or at least of what we have as an example for the Giants this season, they do well against the NL West. So again, where you're going to see the Diamondbacks 6 times this month, good opportunity there. Again, you're fair against the NL Central, against the Cubbies. Possibility there on the road.
And they won't see Lester in that series.
And also, too, again, you will have 3 to round out the month of August at home against the Padres.
You get Darvish, you get Hamels. Those are 2 pitchers that you should be able to tee off on. All right, we got to wrap things up here for today. Got a full schedule.